My idea of success is freedom. Freedom to spend every day how I want to spend it. I might spend the day out on a boat, or at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame here in Cleveland, or maybe taking in a baseball game with my family. Without financial freedom, I wouldn't have those luxuries.
Here is your sobering stat for the day. 10,000 baby boomers are retiring every single day, and the coming years will see tens of millions more. Okay, do we have your attention? Retirement may be something to look forward to unless you don't have enough money saved, which becomes an issue when you consider studies showing 57% of people have saved less than $25,000. 1/3 of baby boomers have saved less than $1,000 for retirement, and the average Social Security check is around $1,300 per month. Okay, do I have your attention now, people of all ages? Let us seek to make this a little more positive, building that retirement bundle safely, quickly, easily. Our guest is a self-made millionaire who tackles all of these issues head-on. He built a nest egg in excess of $5 million and then retired at the ripe old age of 42, all through investing in dividend stocks. He is editor of the top-rated Dividend Machine newsletter, which since it began has witnessed a 156% increase in its portfolio, ranked by the Hulbert Digest as the #1 low-risk investment newsletter. And his book, The Great American Dividend Machine, How an Outsider Became the Undisputed Champ of Wall Street, delivers the insight necessary to gain that financial freedom. Let's welcome Bill Spatrino. Bill, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Ed.
It is a pleasure to sit here and talk about all this. When you first started this, you couldn't possibly have foreseen this level of success.
Well, I didn't see it happening this fast, but you know, in the beginning, I wanted to get involved in real estate, and you know, $7,000 or $8,000 wasn't enough money, so I got into the stock market. I bought my first stock, Philip Morris. Got my first dividend check of $43, and my dad said, "What are you going to do? Buy a Happy Meal with that?" But I just stayed with it, and it was $80, and it was $100, then it was $200. Then I started thinking, okay, if I start brown bagging it or start cutting my lunch down to a certain amount, you know, I started saving the extra money. And I even started going to do free samples at the mall instead of doing anything because I wanted to save money and keep the money focused on the program.
So many people, when they get involved in Wall Street, they go through all the papers, they go through all the newspapers, they check everything else. They always do what somebody else is telling them to do. You didn't believe in that, did you?
No, I started out when I was a kid, as 5 or 6 years old. My grandfather took me to the track, and I realized that if you did what everyone else did, you were going to get what everyone else did. So I started doing I have a good figure for aptitudes, and I started buying, you know, started doing gambling and doing different things. And then I started studying Warren Buffett, and he said to be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful of others are greedy, which really means when the conventional wisdom tells you to buy a stock, I sell it. When someone doesn't like a stock, I'm in there buying. I spot imaginary fear.
You seem to take it almost like a sport in many ways, because, I mean, I'm a big baseball fan, you were a Cleveland Indians fan, but you based a lot of this on baseball, maybe gambling, and a little bit, I understand even the movie Rocky itself you based it on.
Absolutely. Baseball is something, you know, baseball was my first love. You know, I played Little League, and I was not a good hitter, okay, and I never batted over 200 in my life, but I had a thing. I read the book, The Science of Hitting by Ted Williams, my idol, and he said that unless a pitch was in a certain place for him, he didn't swing at it. And I figured I had a better percentage to get a walk than I had a chance to get a hit. And every year I played baseball, I never batted over 200, but my on-base percentage was 500 or higher every year that I played. And I was a leadoff batter. I realized that I had value to the team.
What you're talking about is a hitter's eye, where you can see the ball coming at you and you know exactly which one is going to be the right one to hit. So what you're talking about in many ways is beginning an investor's eye to be able to see it as it's coming at you.
Absolutely. See, the trick in baseball was to only swing at a pitch that I felt that I could hit. Well, it's the same thing in investing. I wasn't a trust fund kid. I didn't get started with a lot of money. I sold my BMW, took $8,000 and put it in the stock market. I couldn't afford to make a mistake. So I reversed it. If I asked you a question and I said, I can give you one wish, Ed, and you couldn't wish for 3 more wishes, what you would wish for is you want to know where you're going to die so you don't go there. Well, I took that to investing, and Charlie Munger, who's Warren Buffett's, you know, the only person that Warren Buffett counts on for information, said, find out where you're going to die and don't go there. He says to invert everything. So I just would sit there and look for investments that wouldn't hit a home run, but that I could hit a single and a double with. And we've got 24 stocks in our conservative portfolio, and all 24, when we started this, Mr. Chris Ruddy said to me, he said, well, how many of these are we going to be right? Are we going to be right 60%? I said, no, Chris, we're going to be right all the time. Give me 3 to 5 years on all my stocks. And since then, we've been right.
You're talking about knowing your limitations, aren't you?
Absolutely. See, the biggest fallacy, like people say to me all the time, I need to make more money. The fact is, I only made $100,000 once before I became a millionaire. But I saved money, okay? And every time I focused on this. And, you know, if you focus on doing the right thing, that's when everything, it's like exercising. You don't get strong in 2 months. If you work out for 20 years, you get in good shape.
So what is it then? A couple of things here from the Great American Dividend Machine. People get a hold of that, they read it, they look into it. Because they're all going to say, I want to read the book and I want to be a millionaire, just like Bill. So what is it that they need to take from that immediacy right there that will at least help them get to that spot?
Well, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step, okay? They can't realize that it's going to take you, if you want to get into good shape, it's going to take you 20 years to do it or 10 years to do it. You're not going to you're not going to do something quicker than everyone. But if you're on the right path, if I'm you know, south here and I want to head north to Ohio, if I'm heading north, I will hit Ohio. And it's the same thing that you do with investing. Once you get on a program, this book is a financial blueprint. It's the exact thing I did. Now, it might take you 10 or, like I told everyone I was going to retire and I was going to do it in 7 years. I did, and everyone said, you're going to fail, you're going to fail. And they were right, I did fail. It took me 12 years. But it happened.
But you got to have patience, is really what you're saying. You don't expect that everybody can go ahead and do it in 3, 4, or 5 years. You've got to stick with the plan.
Absolutely, and it's a lifetime plan, and it's something, you know, you may do something and it's not going to go as quick as you want, but you're going to get knocked down. You just got to keep getting up.
So I got about 2 minutes before we take a break, come back, and we got a whole lot more to talk about here. But you talk about starting off conservatively and putting money aside. That seems like it's pretty average, pretty solid information, but most people I don't think would take that.
No, Ed, the biggest fallacy that I've found is that most people are focused on what they're going to make. See, a dollar saved, they say a dollar saved is a dollar earned. The fact is, a dollar earned today with our tax system is 65 cents, as your viewers know. A dollar saved is a dollar. Somebody read a chapter in my book the other day, and they did 3 of the things, and they saved $1,400 a year. And not just this year, they're going to save $1,400 going. So, you know, $18 for a book, and then saving $1,400, this person finally has the money now to fund an investment account.
So what, about a minute left here, the key to finding the value stocks, because let's be honest, if you're not somebody who knows the market inside and out, you've got to be able to figure out how to find them. I know the book covers that.
Well, and that's what we talk about. The Dividend Machine newsletter is, for less than $2 a week, you can hire me to do it and get a professional. See, the good news is you don't have to do this. You're a great interviewer, and I couldn't try to get on TV and do as good as you could. And you can't come into my arena and do as good as I've done. I've been doing this, gambling and investing and stuff, for 45 years, and the book is a proof element, and it shows everybody how I got to where I am today.
Well, let's put it this way. When it comes to picking baseball teams, I'm fair. Okay, but not necessarily always good in stock markets.
Right. Well, that's just it. And investing is my thing, and I've studied under Warren Buffett, and I've been doing this for 25 years, but I've been investing my money. When you don't have any money to start, you can't make a mistake. Like Lee Trevino, the golfer, says, the hardest part of stressful in golf is when you don't have the money to cover your bet, and you better go out and win.
And Lee Trevino was a guy who I know him very well, and he had a lot of bets in those years, too. Hold on just a minute. We'll be right back. Break, and back with some common sense about that confusing investment called the stock market. A reminder, Bill's book is The Great American Dividend Machine, and for your copy, just head to newsmax.com/dividend book for a special discount offer. And we'll continue right after this.
Bill Spatrino's The Great American Dividend Machine is already a #1 Amazon bestseller. Get it at bookstores everywhere, or check out the free offer at newsmax.com/dividend book, or call the number on your screen below.
Okay, back to work on your financial future. Welcome once again, the author of The Great American Dividend Machine, Bill Spatrino, joins us here in the studio. All right, Bill, you pick winners. Great, I got to tell you, you picking winners, I mean, that's something that people want right away. That becomes that great eye that you're able to pick them out. You've picked some great stocks. Here they are. And these are ones that are amazing when you look at the numbers here and what they've gone up. Altria has gone up 387%, still pays a dividend of 4.1%. Johnson & Johnson, 155%. They're up 2.8% on the dividend. Another one, Wells Fargo, 141%, 2.6% dividend. You had 167% on Abbott Labs, 261% on Visa, and you had 495% on a company called Gilead Sciences. Okay, how'd you know these were winners?
Well, Ed, it's like being in the jungle. The big fish eat the small fish, okay? Johnson & Johnson's been around since 1886, okay? They started out with Band-Aids and Johnson & Johnson shampoo. Now they're in consumer goods, they're in medical sales, you know, with the devices, and they are in the pharmaceutical business, okay? And they've been around for 120 years. You don't have the distribution system they do, okay? In a stock like Altria, they have 50% of the tobacco market. There's no advertising in tobacco. So how are you going to beat somebody? How are you going to bring out a new product? Okay, if you and I were racing to, and I was in Cleveland and you were in Florida and we were racing to Key West, yeah, if I took a jet maybe and you were walking, maybe I could catch you. But if I said, okay, no advertising, we all both got to walk, well, no, you can't win.
Well, what you're talking about here are solid companies that have diversification involved in them as well, because people might think of one product for Johnson & Johnson, one for others, right. But you just talked about digging into them, and that's what a lot of people don't do when they invest.
Yeah, well, the trouble is that there's two kind of investors. There's the fundamental investor and there's the technical investor that looks at charts. To me, and this is no offense to the people, but I tell it like it is. The people that do the charts don't want to do the homework. I follow my mentor, Warren Buffett. I read between 50 and 150 hours worth of data before I invest in a stock. Because a lot of these guys, they'll tell you after the stock went down, okay, sell now. Well, that's like telling a person who jumped off a diving board, there's no water in the pool. You can't do that, okay? I do my homework first, and then I give each stock 3 to 5 years. Okay, your best friend may make a mistake and do something wrong. It doesn't mean you abandon them. Okay, you stick with it, and I give commitment to these companies, and over time, these companies have proven it. And I spot imaginary fear, like in the case of in the case of Johnson & Johnson, there was a Tylenol scare, and where there was a problem with a recall. I bought the stock. With Altria, there was a problem that somebody thought tobacco was going to be illegal. We get that argument every 2 or 3 years.
Is that the biggest thing, the knee-jerk here that people have when they see these things happen? They don't then look a little bit more deeply into them, but they say, oh, in the news, bad news, got to get out. That's right. Knee-jerk. Yeah,
well, it becomes, see, the media, you know, like Mr. Market said in the book, The Intelligent Investor. I saw a person the other day and they had the book, The Intelligent Investor. I said, look, just read book chapters 8 and 20. And in chapter 8, he said, Ben Graham says, the market is here to serve you, not guide you, okay? I know what price I want to pay for a stock, just like when you go in to buy something at a store, you know what price you're going to pay. When the price, the thing that gets me is someone will buy something at $30, but then when it goes to $20, they don't want to buy it. If you were in a store and you liked that tie and you said, okay, it's $65, and the guy said to you, I can sell you another one of these ties for $40, you wouldn't say, oh no, I don't. Maybe these ties are going down in value.
Where do I sign up?
Right.
But you don't usually go for the splashy stocks. Apple has been a very key stock for you. And this sometimes is a splashy company. That's not one of those sometimes that people would think is being very solid, but they are across the board.
Well, the thing with Apple is, and I said this to my readers, I said this the last time when we were on Skype a couple of months ago, Apple is its own
universe.
Its own universe, okay? What they do to you is they have older people, they have younger people. My daughter Stephanie taught me about Apple. I went into a store, our cat died, and she said, Daddy, this is one of the worst days I've ever had. And I said, well, we're going to change that. We're going to go get you an iPod. I went and got her an iPod, and she was real happy. She said, Daddy, this is not a good day, but it's not the worst one. So I took her in there. We got an iPod, and she said, Daddy, it's obvious everybody needs more than one case to match their outfit. Well, what she said was obvious. I sat there as the investor, and I said, you know something? This is really strange. And then I saw older people. We went back into the store, and I saw a seminar for all the older people that were over 50 and 60 that were doing it. And I said, wait a minute, they have the children, they have the older people. Then I looked at the balance sheet. They got $150 billion of cash. And I mean, the business is not to run out of cash. And last quarter, they cash flowed $1.2 billion a week. And someone said, you mean they did that in sales? I said, no. That's what they cash flowed in profits.
Hang tight right there, because we're going to come right back with Bill Spatrino, some insight into his world. We'll talk Warren Buffett. Don't forget, the Great American Dividend Machine. For your copy, just go to Newsmax.com/dividend book for a special discount offer.
Bill Spatrino's The Great American Dividend Machine is already a #1 Amazon bestseller. Get it at bookstores everywhere, or check out the free offer at newsmax.com/dividendbook, or call the number on your screen below.
Let us prove there is hope when it comes to your retirement years and financial security, something of import to every age. Welcome back, author of The Great American Dividend Machine, which will tell you how to get your copy in just a few minutes. Bill Spatrino joins us here on the set once again. Berkshire Hathaway, you've talked about Warren Buffett many times here. That's his company, but his company doesn't pay a dividend. Now, isn't that supposed to be a key to investing?
Absolutely. And what happened is the dividend machine was based on Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. And someone said to me, asked me that exact question, and this is how I answer it. Warren Buffett is able to buy businesses. He put $1 billion into Coca-Cola. Right now, he gets over $100 million a quarter in dividends that he keeps reinvesting. He can go, Warren Buffett has enough cash to go out and buy businesses. See, when the average person starts, like I started with $9,000, I couldn't go out and buy businesses like he can. So I have to buy pieces of businesses like Altria, and then the money comes back in dividends. And like for him, they comes back, like when Berkshire Hathaway buys things, their dividends are tax advantaged, and so are ours.
He makes it look so easy. The man makes so much money. And what you're telling us just seems to be basic. Sit down, watch, and follow. So why don't more people do it? What is it they're missing about Warren or that they don't follow?
Well, they can read his book, but you know, the truth is you have to put, not only do I have a photographic memory, I've spent probably 20 or 30,000 hours studying gambling, and Warren Buffett started betting on horses just like I did. He started betting on sports, I did. And it's the same, you start predicting things, you start seeing what doesn't work, and then you realize what does work and what works. If you do what everyone else does, you'll get what everyone else gets. Like for instance, he bought Wells Fargo, the stock dropped almost 50%, and everyone said he was gonna go broke. Well, Wells Fargo's been around since 1840. You know, it's not going to go broke, and he has been right. You know, we both bought IBM, and the stock has dropped, and a lot of my subscribers, they're emailing and say, you got to get rid of this IBM. Well, IBM's up almost $10 this week because people are starting to realize that IBM's been in business for over 100 years. They keep reinventing themselves. The big fish are going to eat the small.
We're always looking to make money, but then again, when we make money, we've got to worry about paying taxes. So what about the tax advantages here with everything that you do?
The greatest thing about dividends is if you have interest in a bank or you have bond interest and you're in the top tax bracket, you have to pay upwards of 43.8% on your money, not counting state taxes, that's just federal. In dividends, the most you can pay is 23.8. And if you're in a lower tax, in some tax brackets, I believe it's under 15%, your dividends pass through tax-free. Whereas in, you know, if you have bond interest or annuity interest or some kind of interest from a bank or a bond, you have to pay, let's say you're in a 15% bracket, you got to pay 15%. So it's specialized that way because companies, the reason it's like that is companies are not allowed to deduct dividend payments on their taxes. So when they pay out dividends, they're not allowed to write it off. So that's why the investors get, this is a return of your capital because you're an actual owner.
Got about 1 minute left here. Key question, people in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. Once they get a copy of the book, they sit down and read it here. Can they still make money and put themselves in a positive situation?
Absolutely. This book is put down in a blueprint. I mean, look, you don't know how long you're going to live. I mean, my goal was wanted to be the richest people in America, and I'm not going to reach it. Warren Buffett's got me beat.
You don't know yet. It's okay. You got time.
Yeah, I do have time. Well, the key is if I'm going to do it, I got to live. Now my goal is to be the oldest. And if I'm going to do that, I want to live till I'm 120, so I'm going to be alive another 70 years. I need to, you just need to stay on a program, okay? And if you do it, whether you make $1 million or 100,000 or 200,000, but you know, you have to get started. You can't just sit there and not know what your program is.
It almost seems as if don't fear and be serious about it, but also have a plan and stick to it is really what you're saying.
Absolutely. And I wrote this book because I wanted there to be an actual plan, but in the end, you need to get the newsletter because you can't pick the stocks like I can. And the good news is you don't have to. and you'll be able to get
Good
one.
news is you don't have to. You're sitting there doing for us.
And for less than $2 a week.
Absolutely a pleasure. Thank you
It's a
so much.
pleasure
And
to
it's
talk
good
to
to
you.
know that people can actually still, even in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, still make a buck. There you go.
Absolutely.
You've been watching a Newsmax special report with Bill Spatrino, author of the best-selling investment book, The Great American Dividend Machine. It is indeed necessary reading for everybody as you consider the present and also those future years to come. Pick up your copy at bookstores everywhere. It's also on Amazon, or go to newsmax.com/dividend book and get our special offer, Indeed a Book and Information that could change your life.